slavery. This was in stark contrast to other parts of the country, where American blacks were often forced to live in harsher conditions.
The contrast, remember using exactly the same chip.
Advanced oxidation process, we rarely see any chemicals present. And that's in stark contrast to the taken for granted water supplies that we regularly drink all the time.
And in stark contrast to ISIL, which uses civilians as human shields.
So our approach stands in stark contrast.
Said so eloquently, in stark contrast to that, and it seems that you and the president have been able to arrest a momentum or a default practice of war.
Because it helps keep students engaged, which is in stark contrast to the traditional lecture.
Space stands in stark contrast to the underground Modern Art Museum, which features acclaimed South American and European artists.
Returned home, in stark contrast to the loud singing upon her last departure. Cox was now
is in stark contrast to draw near. But here,
sure, it's in stark contrast to the disorder of the pain and the confused grief that's explored in these poems. So it's like Israel's suffering is explored A to Z.
Attention, mostly because their recommendations and opinions were in stark contrast with the medical community and the CDC. Also, the video of the press conference became increasingly popular on social media, where it picked up over 5 million